All right, welcome back to our final exam prep here. Problem number 8 is finding the inverse of this particular function. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So let's see here. We have g of x is equal to 10 over x plus 3. Okay. So here's what we got. So our steps here, right, are replace, swap. Well, actually, our 0 step here is to make sure it's a one-to-one function. Okay, we're going to swap x's for y's and y's for x's. Okay, we're going to solve for y again, and that's our inverse. Okay, we could check domains and range. Okay, and both the function and the inverse function. Okay, just in case I forgot and I asked this as well, we'll go over that as well here. Okay, so is it a one-to-one function? I wouldn't have asked you to find an inverse if it wasn't, but you never know. You might get somebody who asks you, is it a one-to-one function? I think you can see here that the vertical asymptote, right, x plus 3 equals 0, x equals -3 is the solution. So we have a vertical asymptote at x equals -3. The degree of the top is lower than the degree of the bottom, so we have a horizontal asymptote. So horizontal asymptote at y is equal to 0. Okay, and it doesn't say we have to plot a specific number of points. I mean, this is this is one of my more favorite rational functions to ask about, because once you kind of have an idea of where it is, it's once you've graphed a couple of these, you kind of know. So if I set x equal to 0, right, we get y is equal to 10/3. It's positive. 1, 2, 3. Right, 10/3 is going to be about here, so we're going to be looking at something like this, and on the other side, the corresponding wing is going to look like that. All right, so not so bad. We know it's one-to-one, right? It passes the horizontal line test. There's no place to pass a horizontal line, and it only hits once. Okay, so it's one-to-one function. Okay, so here we have y is equal to 10 over x plus 3. We're going to swap. We're going to say x is equal to 10 over y plus 3. Now we're going to solve for y. So this was step 1. Okay, that's our setup. Here's our step 2, is we're going to say this is x times y plus 3 is equal to 10. Okay, so we have x times y is equal to 3x is equal to 10. Okay, just distributed that out. X times y is equal to 10 minus 3x. Right? Just push this over to the side. And y is equal to, well, we'll say negative 3x plus 10. That'll be a little bit easier to see, divided by x. Okay. And here's our inverse function. Okay. Now we could check this by doing this, right? We could check it by doing the function composition. Actually, we'll put it this way. We'll say circle G inverse, what I'm calling G inverse, to make sure that that equals to x, and vice versa. Okay, I didn't ask you to do that, but you might get a teacher that does. Okay, so we'd have to go through and check that. But let's take a look at the domain and range for g of x. Okay, let's do it this way. Let's move this off to the side here. Okay, so we'll say our domain over here and our range, and then we'll check it for G inverse. All right. Okay. So going back up to the original function, right, it's 10 over x plus 3. It looks like our domain is like everything that isn't the vertical asymptote. So we're going to go negative infinity off to negative 3, union negative 3, off to positive infinity. Okay, so we just skipped over x equals negative 3. Okay. Our range, well, we have a horizontal asymptote at 0, so we're going to skip over y equals 0. So our range is going to be negative infinity up to 0. We're skipping over 0 and going up to positive infinity. Okay, now let's take a look at, right, let's take a look at, this is negative 3x plus 10 over x. Well, here, right, my domain, we could see that there's a vertical asymptote at x equals 0. So we have negative infinity up to 0, union 0 up to positive infinity. Okay, and in my range, right, see, the degrees are the same now, right? The degrees are the same. So what we're going to have is a negative 3 is my horizontal asymptote. We have a horizontal asymptote at y equals negative 3. The degrees are the same, so the horizontal asymptote is the ratio of the leading coefficients. Okay, so we're going to say negative infinity up to negative 3, skip over negative 3, and off to positive infinity. All right, and what should happen, right? You should see this. You should say, hey, wait a minute. The domain of the original function is the range of its inverse. Okay, those two are related. And the domain, or the range of the original function is the same as the domain of the inverse. So those two are related. Okay, so if you don't see that, that's something to check. You can just write it down if they ask you. That's the relationship, but I wanted to use this as a check to make sure I got the right function. So this is kind of a real easy check to use using this one, which is why I didn't cheat, and well, not cheat, but I didn't know what the answer was when I wrote it down. I actually checked it. Okay, I recommend you do something like that because if you mess up, this will let you know at least in one aspect here you messed up, so you can go back and check. All right, so I'll leave you with that. It's not too bad of a problem, and I'll see you on the next one.